Now I come to the next part which is connected. N, manager, N, nature of nations. N stands for nature of nations. What is the identity of Bharat? I'll quote Swami. I have half an hour, right? I had totally 1 hour 45 minutes. So 30 minutes are left. We started at 10. People who wish to do, I'm quoting Swami, who wish to do business in India should be familiar with the nature of India in all its aspects as a nation. Since nature and nation have a close relationship, they should be reflected in this relationship. We are born in Bharat. We have to develop a nature affable to Bharat, which is our nation. What is the nature of the nation? Indians in the bygone ages always spoke Satya and followed the path of Dharma and led their lives with integrity and morality. Each nation has a unique nature. America has its own nature that can be termed as American nature. Similarly, each country has its own nature. One country should not emulate the nature of other country. India should not imitate other countries' nature. Our nature, our identity has been given by Swami in the name itself. What is the name Bharat symbolize? Bha stands for Bhagavan and Rati stands for love. So Bharat is the place where people have love for God. Several times I have asked this question and several people have asked me this question, and this is the only answer that I have been able to give. Despite all our problems for last several millennia and far more peaceful places in this world, why is it that avatars come again and again to this country only? There are far more beautiful places, there are far more peaceful places, there are far more affluent places, there are far more disciplined places. Then why does the avatars come here again and again? The answer to that question is in the name of Bharat. Because it is this land where love for God is inherent in our existence. In everything that we do, from the time or even before a woman conceives to the time after a person dies, every activity is connected with the love for God. Every activity is connected with that gratitude to God. The Shodashopachara which we do to the divinity is actually the Shodashopachara we are doing to ourselves. So when we do that Shodashopachara to ourselves, we should do with the realization that we are doing it to the Atma or the God within us. That is the real significance of the Shodashopachara. When we are having bath, Swami used to say, you chant the Gayatri mantra, then the act of taking bath becomes the act of doing Abhishekam. If not anything else, start this from today. Instead of singing filmy songs or singing bhajans, sing the Gayatri, chant the Gayatri, and not loudly so that people think you have collapsed. To yourself. They thought you fell down, so you're chanting the Gayatri to get up. No, because you have to chant it with all sincerity and with the feeling that you are doing Abhishekam to the soul within. When you are decorating yourself, you think that you are decorating the idol, you are decorating the divinity within. You are feeding yourself. We chant Brahmarpanam because you are not feeding yourself, you are feeding the Atma within. And the Brahmarpanam is an invocation to that Atma, that I am feeding myself, Atma within. And the Atma saying, yes, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. I am residing in you as the belly fire. I am accepting the Samidas that you are offering. And I am providing energy to all parts of your body. We do all of these things in an absolutely mechanical way. How many of us reflect this reality that the practices of Bharat are actually practices which reaffirm and reconfirm our divine identity? So the nature of nations in business is important. In contemporary times, it is called cultural relevance, contextual intelligence, and several other high-sounding words and jargons have come into play. Swami put it in very simple way, nature of nations. What is Bharatiya will remain Bharatiya. It is in this place where McDonald's was first forced to come with an all-vegetarian menu. Otherwise, McDonald's never had an all-vegetarian menu. Swami, in those years, he gave this talk in 89, had given the example of tires and horns. He said, if we are going to import cars from Japan and America, they are not going to last long. Because American roads are far better than India's, and Japanese population is far more disciplined than India's, and hence the use of tires and horn is the least in these countries. If those countries' products are imported, the tires will not be able to bear the Indian roads, and the horn will not be able to bear the kind of frequency with which it has to be used, unlike Japan, where the traffic is extremely disciplined. For those of you who have not gone to America, you cannot honk there unless there is a serious problem. If you honk there, the whole road will look at you, because you committed a mistake by honking, because there is no need to honk. There is so much discipline on the road that nobody is required to honk. Here, if there is nothing, here even if you are feeling sleepy while driving, we'll start honking. Honking is like a parallel time pass. If we are irritated with the person who is sitting next to us, you start honking so that she keeps quiet. So, nature of nations means that we need to be doing things which are relevant to India. The other misnomer which we have is that India is a poor country. That's the kind of identity which has been conferred on us by the Western countries. For long years, economists from the West used to say Hindu rate of growth. India grows at 3% is the Hindu rate of growth. As if Hinduism is responsible for India to grow at 3%. They said countries like India, China, Japan and other East Asian countries will never be able to beat the Western growth stories because they follow Hinduism and Buddhism, which believe in the concept of karma and rebirth, and hence these countries will never be able to be as successful as the West. This is not my interpretation. These are documented facts. And I would urge those of you who are interested to go to a document which was published around 2002 by OECD, which is the Commission of Commonwealth Countries, which studied the evolution of contemporary economies between 1 AD to 2000 AD. And between 1 AD, you know what is 1 AD? The year 1. To 1750 AD, for 1750 years. In their analysis, there was one country which contributed 35% of global economy. Which is that country? India. For 1750 years of the last 2000 years, this country has contributed to 35% of the global economy. Between 1750 and 18, yes, we all deserve it. Between 1750 and 1850, that contribution went down to 25%. And between 1850 and 1950, Britain grew from 5% to 25%, and India came down from 25% to 5%. Because all Indian resources went to London. Now that study has extrapolated, but by 2050, the axis of power, economic power, will again go back to the old world order. And from 2050 onwards, India and China will once again contribute to 50% of the global economy. So the whole economic success story of India is very visible because we've had our business, our management and our way of life aligned and attuned to our culture. So nature of nations means that we need to be doing things which is in alignment with our nature, our existence, our history. Swami always used to say that copying the Western model of business or leadership is not the solution to problems. We have to develop an indigenously Indian model of business and management, which is what Swami has presented before us. The book Man Management, which I believe is available here, is a compilation of Swami's discourses on business and management. And every Sai devotee who keeps saying that I want to know more about what Swami has said about business and hasn't read this book is doing a great disservice to himself or herself, because here are 40 discourses that Swami has given on one subject. The university has made the effort in compiling it and making it available in a book form, and we are not even making the effort to read it and assimilate and practice it in our life. That's an absolutely incomplete journey that we are undergoing. We spent 40 years in our commercial careers, but we don't spend 40 days in reading the book 10 pages a day. It's a wasted life. I must say that. So the Indian way of business and business based on Indian ethos and values is what Swami had highlighted. So the nature of nations is about doing business, management and leading a life which is inherently to our genuine identity. The Western influence of TV, of music, of internet has severely affected our food preferences, our dressing sense, our hobbies. But what we see is only the glamorous side of that on TV and in media. We need to go to the countries and see the kind of complex socio-cultural problems that those countries are facing. And this negative behavior is an outcome of that inherent insufficiency. America alone has 45% divorce rate. And I am not saying this, there's a recent study which was highly popular on Twitter. 45% of Americans are divorced, which means almost every alternate marriage is a failure. What is the percentage in India? 1%. 99 out of 100 in Indian marriages are successful. Or if they are not, people still stick on, because marriage in India is not a contract. Marriage in India is a sacrament. Do we realize that? Marriage in Islam is a contract. There's this triple talaq debate which comes. It's a contract, so you can take divorce. In India, by the Hindu Code Bill 1956, the Western approach of taking divorce has been incorporated. But as per the scriptures, marriage is a sacrament where you have taken vows with each other in front of the fire. How can you undo a vow which you have already taken? So legally we can divorce, but as per our itihasa, our scriptures, so why I am saying is that entire culture is in alignment with a much larger. I don't want to get into the human rights, the legalities, the rights and the wrongs of it. What I am talking about is that each nature has its inherent way of life. And this is a time-tested way of life which has survived thousands of years. India is the oldest surviving civilization. The Greek civilization, the Babylonian civilization, the Roman civilization, all civilizations, Egyptian civilization, all civilizations have become parts of the history books. This is the only civilization which is surviving for the last 5,000 years. And that is because of this Rati for Bhagavan, love for God, is the undercurrent of our identity. This is the reason why we need to go back to the fundamentals and keep seeing why Swami used to keep on singing the glory of India. Yanna Bharate, Tanna Bharata. Swami used to say that which is found in Bharat is not found anywhere.